Hi guys! So I'm here trying out some new resin. There's a company actually here in Canada called Black Forest Wood Company, and they make their own resins now, which is kind of cool. So they're not very far from me, which is great. They're in Calgary, in Alberta here in Canada. So they make these really cool resin tables, like river tables. You've probably seen them. But they have this high temp resin. So I was using stone coat countertops. I could pull it over because it's empty. So I was using these guys, which is a heat resistant resin, but this one goes to a higher temperature than that one, or its stability is higher. So it's 90 degrees Celsius, which I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but anyways, I'm going to try them out. I know a lot of you have used some different kinds of resins, so I tried stone coat countertops. A lot of you had mentioned that KS resins in the States, the United States, is really good. Unfortunately, they don't ship to Canada, so we can't use them here, but that's awesome for you guys in the States. I've heard they're really good for coasters and stuff like that. So I'm going to give this resin a try. I think it's going to be great. It's a different ratio, so it's actually a 2-to-1, 2 resin to 1 hardener. So, but it's supposed to have no odor. They use it indoors, just like art resin. I still use art resin for all my coating of my paintings and stuff, but I'm going to give this a try because it's a heat resin. So I'm going to do some coasters for a charity that asked me to give a donation. So I'm going to do up a few coasters and see how that goes. I'm going to try my Northern Lights technique on a smaller scale. So this was, I did up a little polar bear silhouette. He's super cute. And this Northern Lights kind of spread all over. But I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour clear, like I did for this one, so it's like a little bit portion clear, and then I just poured a little bit of dark on the back. I'll just focus you guys, because this is a little bit lower than the resin bottle. So I'm going to pour clear. I'm going to let it sit for like an hour, I think. And so it's going to thicken up a little bit. And then I'm going to try mix a little more resin and putting it in to try and do some Northern Lights, and we'll see how it goes. So this is a few step process, because then after I have to let that cure, come back, pour another layer of dark resin, and also put the stars in between. So, but we're gonna give it a try, and then I'm gonna put these little polar bears on them, which are super cute. What I'm going to do too, guys, is for all the coaster silhouettes and stuff, if you want, I'm going to have them on my CraftyJenn art store, and you can buy the pre-cut vinyl silhouettes. So if you want to do your own set of coasters, I'll have those on my store. So there's links in the description for everything in here. So I'm going to go mix up some of this new resin, and I'm going to get it open, and I might try and get the ratios right because it's 2-to-1, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to give this a try. Okay, so I've mixed the resin. There was some figuring for trying to get the 2-to-1 ratio. But I did 5 ounces to 2.5, so hopefully that's correct. They did say that this resin would be a little bit runnier than the other resins. So all I'm gonna do is pour okay, so I just poured it enough, and I still have a little bit left in the bottom. And basically I'm going to fill 4 coasters. Okay, so it's been like 45 minutes since I poured these, and they've thickened up a little bit. So almost 50 minutes. I'm just checking. They're pretty thick. So I'm thinking this is going to work. I've mixed up some fresh resin that's a lot more liquidy, and I'm hoping it'll just hold its shape a little better in these small ones. So I'm just going to take some on the popsicle stick. And kind of start to move it around, just like the Northern Lights. So you can just play with it. The reason why I just wanted it to thicken up a little bit is so that this resin with the color wouldn't spread so much as it did on the last coaster. But I think it's going to hold its shape a little better on this one. Let that sink in a bit over there. And just swirl it around a little bit. You can get kind of the shape of the Northern Lights. I'm going to add a bit of blue in there. Maybe a little bit more stringy blue. Kind of liking that. I think that's looking pretty good. Pretty. So I'm hoping that doesn't just bleed all out, because I have let this resin sit for probably 50 minutes now. So I'm just going to work with it. Do another one. Some swirls. Northern Lights are always in different shapes. Try and get some on the edges. And I'm keeping it more towards the top because I'm going to be adding my polar bear silhouette, but I do like some of it to come down a little bit behind him. To get some of it to spread, I just kind of move it around a bit more. It's looking really cool. Might put a bit more green though. Yeah, I say have fun with it. Play around with, you could do thin ones like faint Northern Lights or thicker ones. Until I get it to where I like it, I think. And it looks like it's kind of holding its form. Ooh, those are looking awesome. I like it. So I'm going to let these cure fully before putting the thin layer of dark and also the stars over, just like I did with the Northern Lights hot plate, and we'll see what we get. Okay, so these are dry and they're looking pretty good. So all I'm going to do is, just like the other one, I'm going to add some stars. So I mixed up a little bit of white with some Floetrol and water. And you can use an old toothbrush, I just don't have any. And just to test it out, I'm just doing it on the side. And then I'm just going to flick some stars into the scene here. Just like that. So I'm just using a brush, but an old toothbrush works too. Just to try and get some bunch of stars on there. There. So just like that, there's just keep going along to doing the whole set that you have. Ooh, there's some big stars. That's okay though. Because I think that's going to cover it up, so it should show through, which should be nice. Get some little ones here. There. So pretty easy. I'm going to let these dry after, and then I'm going to do the other layer of dark on top. Alright, so the paint is dried for the stars that I just flicked on, as you guys saw. And I've mixed up my resin. I'm still using the Black Forest resins, so it's a 2-to-1 ratio, but it's looking really good. So far so good with the hardening and everything. Now I'm going to mix up the dark. I'm using art resin tint, but I did break, well, the lid totally busted, so I'm going to do a little bit of black, and I'm also going to add, let's just stick that on there, a little bit of blue. It kind of makes it all sticky when you don't have the super secure lid, but because I really want this to be dark. So I mixed up 3 ounces. I'm hoping that'll be enough, but if not, I could always mix more. I never really like to have over too much of the resin mixed, so because when you have a colored resin, it's kind of hard to use it. If it was a clear resin, it's a lot easier. Okay, that's not really dark enough, so I'm going to add a bit more black. I just didn't want it like a pure black. I wanted it to be like a bluey black. A little bit more dynamic. Just mixing, and it's just going to be a thin layer of black just so you can get the dark behind the stars. That's why I need to make it really not see-through. Ooh, okay, well that's a lot of black. But that should make it totally opaque. So you shouldn't be able to see through it when we pour it on. And just make sure to scrape all the sides when you're mixing resin. Get the ink mixed in really good. Yeah, that's looking really good. Okay. Alright, so we're just going to pour my thin layer of bluey black over top of those stars. And I see I probably could have mixed a little bit more resin, but that's okay. It should naturally self-level, but if it doesn't, you can kind of help it go to the sides. And that one is full. So I'm going to move it over, grab another one, and just keep repeating the process. So nice thin layer of dark resin behind the stars. So I see I'm going to have to mix up a bunch more resin, but I'm going to do that, pour the rest of them, let them dry, and come back for the demolding, guys. Alright, so the resin has cured and I'm going to demold. So I've already demolded a few just to check them out, but I thought I'd demold a couple with you guys. I think they turned out pretty cool. And just like so. Ooh, pretty. I think that looks pretty awesome. Here's another one. Sometimes I get a little bit of resin on the outside. Super cool. So I think if I had put maybe a little bit less, it might have worked out a little better. But I don't mind them at all. And I've done up these polar bear vinyls stickers for these coasters. I just gotta grab an end. Alright. And I'm gonna stick him in here whichever way. You can always move it around and figure out which way you like. Like so. And then all I'm going to do is, after I put him in, pour a clear layer over top, a thin clear layer to protect him from heat. And the coasters are done. So I'll put another one on that guy, but I just wanted to show you kind of a series of them. Let's see, I'll move this guy over a bit. Kind of get them in there. Anyways, you can do a whole set of 4. There we go. A whole set of coasters with the nice northern lights, and then I have a polar bear. If you guys are interested in these polar bear vinyl embellishments, I'm going to be selling them on my CraftyJenn art store. So if you create your own resin coasters and you wanted some of the polar bear, there's deer, and also some zodiac ones. So check it out. I'll be adding more different embellishments that you can use in your coasters. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you, guys, for subscribing to my channel, watching my videos, liking, commenting. I greatly appreciate it and hope you guys are enjoying them. And I appreciate you guys using my Amazon links and also checking out my CraftyJenn art store for any of the vinyl applications or whatnot. And I hope you guys are having a blast creating. Thanks so much.